So you want to buy a multifamily property, but you don't have a W-2 job. And you've probably had a bank slam the door in your face, right? Well, today we are unlocking the exact strategies the pros use to get around that. This explainer is brought to you by Real Estate Rank IQ, so let's jump right in.
You've got the ambition, you've even found the perfect property, but the bank just won't play ball. Why? Because you don't have that traditional, steady paycheck. You know, it's a super common problem, and honestly, it's so frustrating. But I'm here to tell you it is absolutely not the end of the road.
Actually, there are some really powerful, proven strategies that savvy investors use all the time to just sidestep those old school lending rules. We're gonna break down two of my favorite methods today. These are real game changers for investors who don't fit in that neat little W-2 box.
And check this out, the timing? It couldn't be more perfect. We're looking at a need for 4.3 times million new rental units by 2035. Think about that. The demand is just off the charts, which means the opportunity for new investors to jump in and make a killing is huge. All right, let's get into our first strategy.
Okay, strategy number one is something called a DSCR loan. Now, that sounds complicated, but DSCR just stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. All you need to know is this: it's a special type of loan built for investors. It's your golden ticket because it's based on how well the property performs, not on your paycheck.
Yeah, this is the main thing to get. This loan completely flips the script. The lender doesn't care about your W-2. They're not asking for your last 2 years of tax returns. They have one and only one simple question: can this property pay for itself? That's it.
And the flexibility you get here, it's just incredible. I mean, no pay stubs needed at all. Your credit score still matters. Sure, you need to have decent credit, but get this, you can even use gift funds for most of your down payment. This just blows the doors wide open on deals that were impossible before. So how do they decide? The whole thing comes down to this one little magic formula. You just take the gross rental income, everything the property brings in, and you divide it by the total expenses. You know, your PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That final number is all that matters. It's that simple.
Okay, let's put some real numbers to this. Let's say you find a sweet 8-unit property for $1 million. You put 25% down, so you're getting a loan for $750,000. Now, here's the important part. The property pulls in $116,000 a year in rent, and all its expenses add up to just under $88,000. Okay, so the math is super easy, right? You take that big rent number, the $116,000, and just divide it by the total expenses. The number that pops out, that's your DSCR score. And that, my friend, is the only thing the lender is really looking at.
And boom, 1.32. That's our score. So what does that mean? It tells the lender this property makes 32% times more money than it needs to pay all its bills. Most lenders want to see a 1.1 or a 1.2. We're at 1.32. That's a slam dunk. Approved.
So the DSCR loan, it's an amazing tool, especially for properties that are already stable and making money. But what if your credit isn't quite there? Or what if the property is a bit of a fixer-upper and isn't quite bankable yet? Well, don't you worry, there's another way in. And this is where we entered the really cool world of creative financing. Okay, now this is where it gets really fun. With creative financing, you just cut the banks out of the picture completely. Forget loan applications. We're talking about making a deal directly with a seller. And the way you do it is with this awesome tool called a master lease agreement. The easiest way to think about it is like a lease-to-own deal for a giant apartment building. You get to take control of the property right now. You manage it, you collect all the rent checks, you get all the cash flow, starting today. And in return, you have a contract that says you'll buy it from the seller later on at a price you've already agreed on. It's like having all the perks of owning it without having to get a bank loan, yet. Now, inside the industry, there's a favorite way to structure these deals. It's called the 10-5-5 formula, and it's what makes these huge properties so accessible. So what is it? Just 10% down, way less than a bank would ever ask for. You pay the seller only 5% interest on their loan, which means your payments are super low and your cash flow is super high. And you get a 5-year term, which gives you a ton of time to fix the place up and increase its value before you have to go get a real bank loan. Okay, so what does that actually do for your wallet? Let's take that same $1 million property we talked about earlier. If we use this 10-5-5 formula, your cash-on-cash return, wait for it, skyrockets to an insane 24.6%. I mean, just to put that in perspective, the pros are doing backflips for a 10% return.
This strategy literally more than doubles that. It's incredible. Look, I get it. This might sound a little too good to be true, but I promise you, this is not some fantasy land theory. These are real, proven strategies that people are using every single day to build some serious, life-changing wealth. And a lot of them are starting with way less than you'd think.
Check out this real-world deal. One student used this exact master lease strategy to get control of a $2.2 million property, zero bank financing. They spent 2 years fixing it up, increasing the rents, and then they sold it for $4.5 million. That's how you do it. That's how fortunes are built in this business.
All right, so you've seen the strategies, you've seen the proof that they work. The big question is, how do you actually do this? Let's break it down. Here's your 4-step action plan to get in the game today.
First things first, you got to build your network and your know-how. You need to connect with lenders who actually do these DSCR loans. You need to become an absolute pro at analyzing a deal's cash flow, so you know a great deal from a bad one. Then, you've got to learn the art of negotiating these creative deals directly with sellers. And maybe the most important thing of all, find a mentor, someone who's done this before, to show you the ropes.
So as you can see, it's not a question of if it's possible. The tools are out there. The strategies are proven. You absolutely can buy multifamily property without a traditional job. So the only real question left is, what's holding you back right now? And, the only way to figure that out is to take that next step.
Here's what I want you to do. Head over to realestaterankiq.com and take their free quiz. It's designed to help you pinpoint exactly what your path should be and give you the confidence you need to move forward. It's time to stop waiting. Go elevate your real estate IQ and start building that future you've been dreaming about.